Hello, everyone. This is Leslie Shreve. Let's talk about time today. Let's talk about time. Time is so precious. It is so essential if you want to increase your capacity, increase your volume, increase revenue or sales, or increase your progress on projects and initiatives. Time is so essential if you want to get more done. Now, not necessarily work more. We don't have to worry about that because we need more time, personal time at home, because everybody's already working too much. So I'm not talking about working more or longer hours. I'm talking about getting more efficiency and effectiveness and productivity out of the time you have in your workday so that you can actually unplug when you get home and have more time for yourself. So, what I want to talk about with you today is where time is going. It's always so short. I remember people telling me when I was younger that as you get older, time speeds up and it goes by quicker. I didn't believe them back then, but I do now because time is just vaporizing. Every time you turn around, it's disappearing, and there's never enough of it, even for somebody like me who is always productive, but time still is short. We all want to do more in the time that we have. So I suspect that you suspect that there are some places where time is disappearing in your day. Time that you are probably losing or wasting, or it's being stolen. You're being robbed of time somewhere. And you probably have an idea of some of those places right now. But surprisingly, there are a lot of places where time is going and it's leaking out of your workday, and you're not aware of it. And those are the places I want to talk about today. When my clients come to me, they are not always clear about where their time is going and what processes that they're doing that are efficient or not efficient. And they're wondering, what can I do better? And of course, with Taskology, which is the system here of Productive Day, I'm showing them how to increase efficiency and productivity by looking at their task and their time and their email management, and not just looking at it, but we're fixing it with a proprietary system that I created and trademarked called Taskology, the science of getting things done. And so, for those of you who are unfamiliar with who I am, my name is Leslie Shreve, and I'm the founder and CEO of Productive Day. And I'm a workload management and productivity expert, and I am the creator of Taskology, the science of getting things done. I've been doing what I do for 19 years, working with C-level executives and EVPs, managers, directors, business owners, professionals who really want to get more out of their day. And I'm able to give them 1 to 2 hours back in their workday every day and increase their control of tasks and how they're getting things accomplished with a central digital inventory of tasks. I'm helping them get their email down to zero and learn how to keep it that way, because we all know more is coming in. But they're able to unplug at night and enjoy more time with their families. They're able to make more progress during the day. They're able to get more from the time they have in their workday. And that's what I want for you today. That's what I want for you. So if you don't know where time is going, I'm going to shed a little light on that right now. So there are really six main ways where time is disappearing. I'm not going to get into all of them today because there is too much. They are all can be very deep. I could talk for a long, long time on each and every one of them. But I do want to tell you at a high level what they are. So when you're looking for more time, the very first place you're going to look, the one that's probably the most obvious, is you're going to look at your calendar. And I have a feeling that it's probably overbooked or overcrowded, and it may be one of the reasons that you might be overwhelmed. So when you look at that white space on your calendar and you think, oh, I have time to give to someone who's making a request on my time, think twice, because not all of that white space should be given away. And as a matter of fact, it should be blocked for in the morning and in the afternoon for the work that you want to do, not only the tasks that you want to do, but also processing email, which is also a form of task management. So when you look at your calendar, are there side-by-side appointments? Are they stacked and crowded and jammed in together where there's no breathing room at all? You really want to take a look at that first, because either people are stealing your time by throwing all kinds of appointments and calls on your calendar and you're just rolling with it, or you're too willing to give that time away. So take a look at that because I really want you to have more white space on your calendar. And you may feel like you don't have the right to protect it, but you do because everybody is trying to get time and find time and they want more time and they're looking for time. But the best way to get it, the only way to get it is to protect it. So we already have the time, but I want you to know it's yours to protect. So think about negotiating your time more often, making sure that you are setting boundaries, that you're setting expectations, that you really give yourself the gift of that time during the day because you actually need it to get your work done. You shouldn't be working nights and weekends to try to catch up or keep up. So that's the first and most obvious place to get more time, and that's through protecting it. Now, two more ways that are related to that are interruptions and distractions, which are stealing your time. And if you let it without trying to figure out how to fix that, then you're getting what you tolerate. So be very, very careful with that. And what I mean by that is that if you make yourself available all day long with a 24/7 all day open door policy, you're asking for interruptions. Now you may feel like you don't have the right to shut your door, but you really do. You really should. And for short periods of time during the day, I'm not saying don't be available during the day to your coworkers or your team. What I'm saying is you have to be able to shut your door to focus and get things done from start to finish. And I don't want you to lose that time because when the door is always open, it invites interruptions. It invites those folks to come in and say, got a minute, got a minute, got a minute. So be sure to shut your door and define to others what that means when you shut your door. And maybe there's only occasions where you'll open it and you tell them, what is an emergency? Like in our world, in our industry, or in our jobs here, this is when it's an emergency, definitely come knocking. Otherwise, leave me be so I can get some things done. My door won't be closed any longer than, say, a half an hour or an hour or whatever you define it to be. So interruptions and distractions will always steal your time if you let them. So you really want to focus on where are those interruptions? How often are they occurring? And what kinds of distractions are you dealing with? Are you always leaving all your notifications on? Are you always looking at your cell phone or answering the telephone in your office? Are you always looking at email? Be very careful about those because if you're always checking those different communication tools, then you're always going to get distracted. So you have to turn away from them for periods of time during the day. And I would recommend turning all notifications off so that you're in charge of going and taking a look at those communication tools when you want to see what's going on, including social media. So there's another one. A third way is multitasking. So if you feel like you have the title and the crown for multitasking, think twice about that too. You might want to give up the title. And the reason for that is because plenty of studies have shown and proven that multitasking is just stealing your time. It's ineffective. It's not serving you. And it literally takes, in most cases, almost double the time to do two tasks if you're trying to do two at once, which is really switch tasking. You're going back and forth very quickly between two tasks. It takes double the time to do those instead of doing one at a time, which would save you half the time. You could do it in half the time. So try to give up the title crown of multitasker because it is not serving you. And I don't think you're aware that you're actually robbing time from yourself just by doing that. Because what's happening is if it's taking double the time to get a couple of tasks accomplished as you're trying to switch tasks between them very quickly, you're actually losing time that you could have saved. And if you are working nights and weekends, you're just making it so that you really do have to work nights and weekends. You're making the workday actually longer by doing too much multitasking. Whereas if you focused on one task at a time and really decided where's my time and my attention going to go and finish one thing at a time from start to finish, you would save time and be more efficient. And then you wouldn't have to catch up after work in the evenings or on weekends. So think about it that way. Think about how you're actually stealing time from yourself that you could have to enjoy otherwise. And because I'm pretty sure you don't want to spend one more minute in the email inbox or doing anything else for your job after hours. So think twice about the multitasking. Now, the other three ways are sort of hidden in a category that I want to talk about today. And these are the ones where you might not be really clear about where time is going in these processes. So what I want you to think about is this. Having more time in your workday and having more time for the work that you want to do is not entirely about managing your calendar or managing time itself. It's actually also about how well you manage everything else in your workday. Let me say that again, because this is important. Having more time in your day is not all about just managing time. It's about how well you manage everything else in your workday. And that includes tasks, email, and information. So this is where time is lost, or it's hiding, or it's leaking out of your workday, and you had no idea how much time was being lost or wasted in some of the processes that are going on today in the typical workday. So let's start with tasks. When we talk about task management, a lot of people are still doing the old paper approaches. They're using legal pads, big pads, little pads, steno pads, spiral pads, notebooks, planners, post-it notes. But they're also using whiteboards, Excel spreadsheets, all kinds of different things. And in a lot of cases, many people are using multiples of those, not just one, not just the legal pad or just the planner. When my clients come to me before they learn taskology, they are using multiples. And that's an issue. That is a time stealer right there. The reason for that is because those are tools for managing things to do, but unless they're in one centralized place, one system, think of it as an inventory of all of your tasks that you have on your plate. Unless they are all there, you're going to be losing time in your planning and prioritizing processes. So we're also talking about not just tools, but sources of tasks. So I just listed off a whole bunch of tools that people use to try to keep track of things to do, to try to plan, to try to prioritize, to try to stay on top of everything. But those aren't even the sources. So think about your email inbox. That is a source of tasks. But a lot of people are using that as also a way to keep track of tasks. Why? Because of the flag. Another good example would be using the calendar. So that's a tool and not a source, but that is a tool. But let's add that to the tool category. Another source would be meetings. So you have meeting notes, maybe in a spiral notebook. You also have the conversations that you have on the telephone or in the hallway or anywhere else. And so you're writing those down. So it's going from a source to a tool. So when you create a to-do list on paper, that becomes a tool, but it's also a source. Now it's a source because now that's holding tasks. Another source would be the papers and files on your desk as reminders of things to do. You're going to look at those and you're going to glance around your desk and go, okay, what's the most important thing that I need to do here? Okay, let me look at my legal pad or my planner and let me look at what I've written there. What's the most important thing I need to do out of that list? I'm going to look at email and see what I flagged. What's the most important thing there that I need to do? And what's the most important in that meeting notes? Maybe in the meeting notes, there were a few action steps to take after the meeting. So then what you're forced to do is plan and prioritize in your head because you're trying to remember the most important things from all those different tools and sources, and then try to figure out what's the best use of my time right now. Now, I can guarantee you that it is actually impossible to efficiently and effectively plan and prioritize and accomplish tasks, trying to manage them only from their sources or with a variety of tools without missing, losing, or forgetting something. Guarantee it. So everybody who comes to me and they want to learn taskology, it's because things are slipping through the cracks. And I can tell you right now that has probably happened to you. And if you're nodding your head yes, it probably has happened more than once. And it might be happening a lot. And that's a problem because when you're missing tasks or you're losing information or you're forgetting follow-ups, things are slipping through the cracks, and those have ramifications. Those have consequences. So you're losing time in the planning and prioritizing process. The alternative, the way to get that time back, is to have a central digital inventory of all of your tasks. Get them away from those sources. And I want to be clear about this. Yes, we all still have to check the sources. They are sources of tasks. Yes, you have to check them. But it's what you do after you check the source that matters the most to your time and to your efficiency. You've got to get that pulled out of that source and into a system where you can more efficiently and effectively compare and contrast the many things that you need to do and make smart decisions about how to spend your time. But without total clarity, you're flying blind. And time is being lost in that process because you have to think and rethink every time you want to do a new task, which is also called regrouping. So let's say you finish a task and you think, okay, great, I'm done with that. What now? What's next? You have to check all of those different sources and tools again. And that regrouping time is stealing time from your day. You can get that time back. You can get that time back when everything is built into a system and not a complicated system. Taskology uses Microsoft Outlook. We just use it in a proprietary way, teach the methodology because I don't use the default screens in Outlook. So I simplify it for people. I make sure that it's simple and logical and easy to use. And this is why clients are telling us that it's the easiest and most effective system they've ever used. It's because it's really simple. And when you build it with everything that you need to do, have to do, want to do, even dream of doing, not all in one day, but all in one system, it gives them the power to plan and prioritize more efficiently. And they don't have to waste their time anymore from writing or rewriting to-do lists ever again, no matter where they used to write them. They'll never have to take time every morning or every week or every Sunday to think about what's coming up in the week and think about what they want to do and try to remember all the different tasks that they want to accomplish. All that time comes back to them. And they don't have to worry about regrouping or wasting time trying to figure out what to do next. It's instantly right there on their task list. So that's how you're going to get time back in your workday, by not wasting it using paper. Because when you use paper and you've got most of your tasks on there, or even some of them, you're never going to have all of them. It is not the common denominator for holding all tasks. And what that does is it forces you to keep using all of those other tools and sources to try to keep track of things to do. So stop losing time with the old paper approach and the planners and all the many tools. Centralize it. And I don't mean a task app on your phone either, because that also is like a standalone to-do list. That's like a digital legal pad, because you can't get everything on that digital app on your phone. Start with the one in your computer and then sync it with your phone. So let's talk about email. I mentioned it earlier, flagging emails. That's one of the time stealers in your day, because when you're flagging an email, you're looking for tasks, you're looking for follow-ups, you're trying to mark things to come back to them later because they are things to do. The problem comes in when, and I think you all know this, when you have to keep revisiting those flags and you have to look at it again and reread it. And you go, okay, why did I flag that? Let me see what this is about again. Let me see what I need to do. Was it something I needed to read? Was it an event? Is it something I need to answer a question for somebody? Is it something coming up on my calendar that I need to prepare for? Do I need to have a conversation with somebody? It could be dozens and dozens of things, but you have to figure it out again, because having flagged it, and even if it goes over to that to-do list in Outlook, that's not going to serve you either. And that's because you haven't actually identified the action step. You've just flagged it and it just landed over there. That's not doing anything. So what you're doing is actually rereading emails you've already seen, but couldn't do anything with. And that's the problem. That's where time is stolen. And think about how many times you might have to come back to that email again because it didn't get accomplished the first time you saw it, or even the second time or the third time. Excuse me, because you might have figured out, okay, well, now I know what this is about. This is why I flagged it, but I can't do this today. Or, oh, I need Mary for that. Or I have to call Joe for that. Or that person's on vacation. I can't do that. So I'm going to bypass it again and then move on to the next flagged email. So this is where time is being lost over and over and over again. And you multiply that by how many emails you flagged. 10, 20, 30, 40. They're all scrolling off the screen now. So rereading emails you've already seen but couldn't do anything with is stealing time from your day, big time. Now, the misnomer is that email is such a pain in the neck, and oh, email is taking up all my day, and email is a terrible, communication tool, and I hate email. Nobody loves email, but it's not the communication tool's fault. It's learning how to handle what that communication tool brings. It's no different than the phone. And the phone used to be the only thing that everybody used to stay in communication. But you can't hate the phone. You've got to learn how to handle the information that these communication tools are bringing. And that is where the efficiency can increase. Because if you learn how to handle the information and the tasks and all the things that come from email, learn how to handle those better, faster, more efficiently, then you're not going to dislike email so much. Yes, it's a lot going on with email. It is the most hated tool because the volume is so high. It's so prevalent in our workday. But the faster you can dispense with it, the easier it will be. So it's not the communication tool. It's how you're handling the information. The other thing that I think people get confused about is that email is email and tasks are tasks. Well, I have news for you. Email is task management, but it's also information management and a couple of other things. It is a communication tool, yes, but all the tasks and follow ups that email brings, that's task management for you. And so in our system, I'm teaching my clients how to get those tasks and follow ups from email onto the taskology task list without using the flag, because it is getting things done. It is task management. It's all the same thing. And you want all of those in the same bucket, no matter the source of the task or when you'll take action. You want them all in the same bucket so you can give them target dates of action and you can make smart decisions about how to spend your time. So email is not just email. That's task management too. So make sure that you are able to include your email when you build your digital task list. Include email from that. Just don't use the flag because there's a better way to do that. But you do want to consolidate all of your tasks, including from email, so that you can have that 100% awareness and clarity of everything that's going on. So you're not blindsided down the line with something that you might have missed, lost, or forgotten. So that's email. Let's talk about information, because email is also about information management too. But then there are also things that you create yourself and save them in the hard drive. You know, you have attachments to emails other people are sending you. You've got to manage that information. You've got contact information. There's all kinds of information that you might even print and file in a physical file drawer. So there's a lot of information that you're dealing with throughout the day, as well as the active stuff, which is tasks and follow-ups. But when any of those are missing from your view and you have to stop what you're doing for too long to go find something, that's where time is lost in your day. So let's say you're trying to finish a task or send an email to somebody and you think, oh, that's right, on that email, I need to send this attachment. Well, now you can't find it. Let's say you check your computer desktop and you check the hard drive and you're not quite sure where to look, but you knew you had it. And then you're searching in other emails because maybe it's still embedded in another email somewhere. If you have to stop for too long because you're looking for things you know you have, but just can't find, that's time you'll never get back. And that's the kind of time that is wasted in huge amounts because of all the information that people are trying to keep track of, but are losing track of. So if you're trying to find contact information and you're looking at an email, I say contact information needs to be in contacts because that's what that system is for. If you're trying to keep track of attachments when really they should be in the hard drive, be very careful of that too, because you have systems in your Workday that are meant for handling certain types of information, but so many people are not using them and not maximizing them. But if you can get your systems to be reliable and you feed them with the information that belongs in those systems, you will be able to trust and count on them. You will be able to trust them. If you leave everything in email, you're not going to trust that because you're not going to know if you moved it out or if you didn't move it out or if you saved it in the hard drive or saved it in contacts. You're not quite sure where to look and you're going to spin in circles. And that kind of reactivity in your workday is robbing you of time. So for information, we want to make sure that it is in a place where not only it's in the right system that's meant for managing that type of information, but that you've got it systematized. You know, you've got it so that it's streamlined. Things are categorized. They're in the right place. You know how to find it. They've got the right names. They've got the right categories. And you can find what you need in an instant. So that is the goal there. And I want to make sure that you think about where you're saving your information or if you're saving it at all, because you really want to get that out of the source as well and get it into the systems that are best meant for managing that type of information. So there's some places where you can look for time. That's where time is leaking out of your workday right now. I covered 6 of them. 3 had to do with time itself, which is protecting time on your calendar, managing interruptions and distractions, or better yet, avoiding them or preventing them altogether. Stop multitasking. And then the 3 things that are also stealing time from your day are in your processes for managing tasks, email, and information. So I hope that helps today. What I want you to do next is an action step that will help you shed even more light on what's going on in your workday. I would recommend that you come on over to productiveday.com. It's at the top of our page, but you can do productiveday.com/#quiz and take our new quiz. It's the What's Your Number One Productivity Blind Spot quiz. And not only is it going to give you an answer where you're going to be one of 4 categories, where one of these 4 categories is causing you the most angst and frustration. And once you find that out, you'll get a report written by me of what that means. What does that mean? So once I tell you which bucket you fall into, which frustration is bugging you the most according to your quiz results, you'll get that report, but then you'll also get that, you'll get some other follow-up reports, and then you'll also get the free training that I've done on the whole Workday, so you can see how it all ties together. So come on over to productiveday.com, take the quiz, and find out which is your number one productivity blind spot, because that's going to help you know what to focus on first. It's productiveday.com/#quiz. So I hope that was helpful today. It was great being here with you today. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. And until then, make it a productive day and a very productive week. See you later, everybody.